vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Plains Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
What a day. I could sure use an afternoon pick-me-up. Hold up. The new 93.7 The Ticket location has a milk, coffee, and tea inside? Oh, yeah. This is a game changer.
Need an afternoon pick-me-up? How about a coffee or smoothie on your way to work? Stop by the Ticket Mill location on 1040 O Street to get your go-to drink or try out our new game day drinks exclusive to the Ticket Mill location. We know it'll make your day a million times better.
Time for a new heating and cooling system? Get the options, brand, and efficiency that best fits your family and your home. Call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
College football in Lincoln, America. The time has come. Start your game day off right with the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Join the Ticket crew as they bring you all the coverage you need to get you ready for the action. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Brought to you by General Fire and Safety, Raisin Canes, Perch Merch, Sunbelt Rentals, Mullen Motors, Select Plumbing, and the Kindler Hotel. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by NEPCO. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
That it is. Welcome into another week here during On the Block. I'm Austin Norman, joined by, as always, my partner, the man himself, Strick. Stricky, baby, how's your weekend, my guy?
What's good, man? You're going to hear some noises. I'm perched up at a Starbucks outside here because of what I had to attend to for a business meeting. Found me a little bit further south than I would have liked and had to perch at a Starbucks. But It doesn't stop us from getting on the block. We're going to get there. We're going to make it happen. Just you made some road noise, and I'll try to mute it out as best I can. But other than that, all is well.
Good, good. Glad to hear it. Glad you're along with us for the show here, listeners, at 402-464-5685. We're talking some Nebraska men's basketball scrimmage before we get into plenty of college football here throughout the rest of the show. Let me know if you were at the scrimmage. What did you think? What did you see? Again, 402-464-5685, or leave a comment on one of our streams, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, up and rolling for you. All of the previous thanks to Starter Heyman Jewelers. Thanks to Nebco for sponsoring the show as well. We'll tell you more about how you can start your new career today here in just a couple minutes. Well, Strick, new year, new Nebraska men's basketball team, except the first thing that stood out to me as I watched yesterday's scrimmage, the offensive philosophy was really the same. So was the defensive philosophy, right? And it makes sense. It's an open scrimmage. Nebraska wasn't going to put too much out there on tape, on film for other teams to maybe see. But Strick, I was shocked by just how little straight up pick and roll Nebraska ran. And there wasn't a lot of even, funneling to shot blockers. They still doubled from the baseline on defense. So my first reaction, trying not to overreact to it, but maybe I overreacted before in the offseason by thinking Nebraska was going to change so much. A lot of things looked very similar to the way they did last year with the 5-out offense and the defensive scheme.
Well, one of the things you have to look at is the production. I think you can't rely too much on the stylistically kind of how they're going to play. There's some belief, and I don't think there's much concern. I believe they think they recruited towards a similar style, but I have to agree with you. Now you have point guard play on. Now you also have a different type of big man play, i.e. your DeAndre Jordan type lob guy, roll guy, strong roll with some form of replacement where shots are going to become available there. So you have that now in front of you, and you didn't really see it. That's okay. Let's look at the production. That's where I want to look at. Look at Worship, right? Raleigh, 9 assists, 1 turnover. That's what you want to see with regards to production. Find him, get him the ball. It works coincidingly with what we thought we wanted to see more from Bryce. More off ball, more coming off screen, more getting set up, more working off catch, maybe off catch and shoot, as opposed to having to control the offense. So you figure that part. Then you've got to see the additions. This is what's not accounted for when you're talking about this team is in full the additions. A season. What some of those who came in the transfer portal are going to look like. What the new additions, the new recruits are going to look like, and how they fit. You just don't know. And this is why I think when I look at Ken Palm's layout for the season, I think it got us about 56 best in the country right now. Looks like they finish it up with a 16-13 record. Is that too low? Don't know. But that's what we don't know as far as what the additions are going to provide for this team, what it's going to look like, understanding that your centers, who was your cornerstone, is going to be out in Rick Mass. So when I looked at the schedule and the losses that they were taking, a lot of them came from just who they expect to be some of the better teams in the Big Ten. So losing a lot of those games to the top, they got us like 13th in the Big Ten. What that looks like, I don't know. I think you should look at it and kind of, we can kind of run through and see if there's some cap in that. You know what I mean? What that looks like, I don't know. But it's interesting to see, though.
Yeah, so Ken Pomeroy's rankings came out. Nebraska 56th and 13th in the Big Ten, like Strick said. Every Big Ten team is rated inside the top 75, according to Ken Pom, which is absolutely incredible. They have some teams, I think they have at least one in the top 10. I know a couple in the top 25 as well. But when it comes to Nebraska specifically, Strick, I think that's the way that Fred Hoiberg would like his team to be approached, right? With some skepticism, by being able to be the hunter instead of the hunted, right? All the additions that Nebraska made, they didn't go out and add an AJ Storr like Wisconsin did last offseason. They didn't go out and add a Hunter Dickinson like Kansas did a couple off seasons ago. What Nebraska did was added some guys that are going to be contributors because they don't have to carry the load and be a star, right? What Raleigh Worcester did, 9-1 assist to turnover ratio, that's star level stuff. But Raleigh Worcester is not the focal point of the team. Berke Boyukenjo, double-double, 13 points and 13 rebounds. Good mix on the offensive and defensive glass, 11 on D and then 2 on O. Did okay, rotating over from the weak side, but he showed a nice perimeter game, right? It was a shot fake, one dribble pull up from the mid-range. Pretty crafty finisher around the rim. Connor Sejan, right? What he did. He's going to play that CJ Wilcher role. Of all of the translations from new recruits or new transfers in, the guy I feel most confident about knowing his role right now is Connor Sejan, right? They ran the same sideline and baseline out of bounds plays for him that they did for CJ Wilcher over the last couple of years, and he knocked him down. He was the big spark for the white team. Even like Gavin Griffiths and Andrew Morgan, their performances are going to go under the radar. Morgan had 9 points on 6 shots, 3 rebounds. He was the only, quote unquote, big man on that white team's roster. I guess you throw Bolus in that conversation, but I don't know. They pretty much just subbed those two 1-for-1. Morgan was really the only true center on that roster. He more than held his own against the other guys. And even Gavin Griffith, Strick, you go to a new gym, it's unfamiliar, you don't get a chance to practice in it, your shot's going to be off a little bit, right? That's why it was even more incredible what Sejan did. But Gavin Griffiths didn't just settle, right? Yeah, he took a lot of threes, but they were all good ones. He didn't force any. He wasn't rushing any. They were open flow of the offense shots that just didn't go down, but he didn't stop with that. He led his team with 8 rebounds. Right? So even though his shot wasn't falling, he goes into the defensive glass and cleans up. He has a putback slam off of a missed 3 from, I think it was Janowski. So all of the pieces that Nebraska added, it's understandable why they would fly under the radar. But to your point on the KenPom rankings, you add all those guys that just know how to play basketball together, odds are good that Nebraska finishes higher than 13th when it's all said and done.
That's the way I look at it. And to your point, it's the same viewpoint I have when you look at this team and consider how Coach Hoiberg and the staff are probably looking at it. They're probably excited that a lot of people are looking at them, especially after what they accomplished last year. To be third in the Big Ten last year, that's a solid run. But no one's considering them at the top tier again. So now they just get a chance to go and do their work and mull over things. Some games that are early and important, obviously, KenPom's got them losing. I think if they can raise I think they can raise a little bit of excitement about their program if they're able to pull off a St. Mary's and a Creighton win, because you're looking at a back-to-back win. Even if they split, I think that looks good. Because St. Mary's is normally a pretty good program. And, to get that win on a neutral floor would be something that would go well for Nebraska, I think, early on and give them a little bit of confidence. It takes them on throughout the rest of the season.
I want to dive into the big men a little bit here, Strick, especially for that red team. If I had to guess right now, the starting lineup would be the red team starters of Worcester, Williams, Gary at the 3, Boyukenjo at the 4, and then Braxton Mia at the 5. We saw a lot of Mia at the 5. We saw some Berke Boyukenjo at the 5 as well. He brought the ball up a couple times. With those big men specifically, Strick, their production combined, like you said, it was 13 and 13 for Boyukenjo, 9 and 7 for Mia against a smaller team, to be completely fair. But both guys had little injury scares as well, which is not what Nebraska wanted to see. Boyukenjo came up grabbing his right calf that he had a little sleeve or a wrap on. And Mia went after an offensive rebound pretty unnecessarily, flew in, way too high, landed on his tailbone. He stayed down for a little bit. He got back up, walked off under his own power, and then was back in the game not long after. Strick, I do think Nebraska has better depth at the big man, kind of center rotation position this year than it has in years past. But one of those guys going down, I think, would completely crater something Fred Hoiberg talked a lot about, and that's the versatility, right? If Boyukenjo misses time with the calf, that really pigeonholes Nebraska in terms of what it can do, especially defensively. And on the flip side, if Braxton Mia misses times, it really pigeonholes what Nebraska can do offensively. You lose your best roller, your best lob threat. So it was good to see a mix of skills from those guys, but they've got to be careful with them in the preseason because I think the strength of the team is having both of them, not just having one of them.
Yeah, I think so, especially when you don't have Rick Mass. I agree. I think the ability to do different things from a versatile standpoint, offensively as well as creatively on the defensive side of things, as far as rotations, rebounding, running, and all those things are going to happen by way of what the defense and they're able to do and secure rebounds and be able to move and run and take care of those fast break opportunities. That's what would change if there is some problems early on, and I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping it's just something minor, just some tweaks, because they have the opportunity to throw some craziness at people that they haven't been used to seeing, and it's not going to be what it looked like. I still don't think it's going to look like it looked like with Rick Mass at the position. It's not going to look the same. They've got more additions and they can do more things. And I think offensive sets, they have more options as well.
One thing that we saw Nebraska use a lot more last year than it ever had under Fred Hoiberg was high-low, typically from Rink Mass down low to Josiah Alec. That's how they started out against Northwestern and Michigan, I believe, specifically. But Strick, we saw a different type of high-low game, right, with Berke Boyuktengel and Braxton Mia in the game at the same time. It was a lot of Berke Boyuktengel looking in as Mia would duck, right, as he would duck in from the short corner, or vice versa, where Boyuktengel would have the ball on the wing. Braxton Mia would flash from weak short corner to essentially the nail. Boom, boom, right over the top to Boyuktengel. How does an offense get to those high-low looks, and what's the best way for Nebraska to capitalize on those?
I mean, one, you got to just shoot well. If you shoot well, it's going to open up a lot of space on the inside because they're going to have to be there on catch. So shooting well is going to be important. But a lot of coverages and rotations are going to open up for high-low action because you're going to have to stay close, which is going to open up the middle part of the elbow or the free throw line. And it's going to provide duck-in opportunities there that they should be able to, or especially in zones if you're shooting the ball well. So that's where I think you'll see it. It's hard to say how people are going to defend them right now, but if they do, that's where they'll probably open up. Shooting's going to be the key. If you're not shooting well from all your positions, you're not a threat, it's going to be packed city. They're going to pack in and force you out there and, basically do you like they did to your boy Ben Simmons.
Oh, yeah.
Is shoot. Do what you want to do.
You can have it. Yours.
You can have it. Yeah.
That is definitely the biggest question for especially that starting group. If you look at those five, right? Worcester, Williams, Gary, Boyuktengel, and Mia. Strick, there is one above average shooter in that group by results, and that's Bryce Williams, who shot, I think, darn near 40% last year. Raleigh Worcester, 80% free throw shooter for his career. 3-point numbers haven't backed that up. Juwan Gary, right? Always kind of tinkering and tweaking with his shot. Boyuktengel, theoretically, can shoot, but we haven't seen it at Nebraska. And then Mia is a pretty true 5. He's limited to maybe a spot up 3 from the corner, and that's really it. That is my biggest concern, is that if Nebraska can't play bully ball, it might be in for a rough time. I don't think it's going to, have nearly the same issues in terms of getting downhill and getting to the rim. I think moving Bryce to the 2 will help with that. I think that Raleigh Worcester did a really good job getting paint touches. But man, if Bryce Williams isn't hitting threes and teams can sag off of Raleigh Worcester and ignore Juwan Gary, you're going to be looking at like 1960s style spacing instead of maybe more modern basketball spacing. When it works, it's going to be beautiful. Nebraska had some crisp pocket passes, right? Off baseline time, low bounce pass to a rolling big man. Asijan had a couple of them. Worcester had a couple of them. Bryce Williams looked for him. But if there's no threat of the drive and there's no threat of the shot, it's going to be a lot of tough contested mid-range and dribbling into nowhere, which is kind of what we saw last year when Nebraska's offense bogged down.
Well, this is what what I mean is that it's going to. I think a lot of the rotations, or even the way the lineups are going to look, or even the style of play is going to look, is going to be dictated by what the matchups are. To me, one of the smart things to do for Nebraska and the staff is to look at what their matchups are and how to create mismatch opportunities. And that means even from the start of the game, stuff that they can't necessarily dictate, where there may be a size differential where it's an advantage to us. We want to take advantage of that. And this is where we work inside, and then open up everything else. Then there's going to be a team that may have a size advantage, but if you create that cross the board size, where you get a bunch of guys on the team that are at that 6'7", 6'8" level across the board, and then you run with that, and then make them force themselves to find matchup situations. And I mean, you run them. It's run for opportunities, and you force it to adjust to you. That's where Nebraska, with the people that they have brought onto this team, which would hopefully create that versatility and allow them to be able to do those types of mix and mingle type of things.
Willie on our text line, 402-464-5685, says, shooters on the bench. That's kind of how it looks, right? Again, if you assume that the starting lineup is Worcester, Williams, Gary, Boyutengel, and Mia, that leaves Connor Sejan, who is 6 of 12 from long range, on the bench. It leaves Gavin Griffiths, with a reputation of being able to shoot the ball going back to high school, on the bench. Nick Janowski didn't shoot it well, just 1 of 5, but he's got the track record of being a 36, 37% three-point shooter in high school. Andrew Morgan looked okay shooting the ball during warmups, only took 1 attempt in the game. But I think we can safely assume, Strick, that this Nebraska team won't make it through the year without an injury, right? Again, your 2 starting big men, your 4 and your 5, both went down at different points throughout the practice. What Nebraska's saving grace might be is that it's not locked into playing a 2-big lineup. I know they found out last year that worked better for that team, with Alec at the 4 and Mast at the 5. But if one of the big men gets hurt, Nebraska can still slide Juwan Gary up to the 4, or slide Gavin Griffiths in the starting lineup, or slide Bryce Williams down the lineup so he can play point guard again. This team isn't locked into playing one style. But that, like Fred Hoiberg said, post-game is going to be his challenge, is what you said, mixing and matching, finding an identity for this team, leaning into something that they're good at without, becoming too predictable, because Nebraska can throw a lot of different lineups out there. So finding that fine line between we're comfortable with this, but how do we make opponents uncomfortable? Getting good at 3 or 4 different lineups only serves Nebraska well through the grind of a 30-plus game schedule.
Yeah, and that it's going to change. It's going to change. Are you there, Austin?
Yeah, I'm there. I got you.
Okay, it's going to change, I think, based on whom they're going to see. It could change based on what this tournament is going to look like. I think it can change. The key is this, as a staff, making sure there's understanding as to being ready at all times, so that no matter what the week looks like, it's a possibility that you might be in the mix. You might be a part of the game plan this week. I remember we had to be ready depending on what Don Nelson envisioned for a specific team. The starting lineup may change. It could switch in the middle of the game, depending on how things were flowing. There'd be times where I might have been matched up on BJ Armstrong, and then all of a sudden, coach would be like, well, no, we're going to go with you on Jordan and Mike Finley on Pippen, type of deal. So, and this was in the game. This is right before the game. We didn't practice that all week, so all of a sudden I'm like, just got to be ready. Just never know. And I think that Coach Hoiberg's got to prepare this team in that manner, just in case, something switches, somebody changes, somebody falls out, can't play. It could change the whole dynamic of how that team is going to be approached in the game.
Yeah, some of it's coaching, some of it's on players, right? Taking pride if it's an unfamiliar situation. It's, okay, I know what my job should be, or if I don't know what my job's going to be, I'm going to make the best of it. I'm going to play 100% full speed because this lineup creates an advantage. Strick, what if I told you Fred Hoiberg got booed yesterday?
Really?
Yeah.
And why is that?
He was thanking the fans in postgame. He said he had a lot of great memories in Devaney, including banking in a 3 on your head to beat you guys in 95.
He didn't say me.
Who'd he get? Who'd he get then? If it wasn't you, who'd he get?
It wasn't me. It had to be somebody else. Somebody did me like Al Harrington did me against Paul Pierce. They pushed me out the way. It was like, I got it. And took that bank shot eyeball sandwich. Until you can find tape, Austin, I plead the fifth, and it didn't happen. Show me the tape.
That's my mission. I will be at every press conference asking Fred Hoiberg and Seamus for the tape. Jamie Pollard, you're on speed dial. We need this tape to see if it was tricky or not. So that's why Fred Hoiberg got it. But he made up for it later. He got plenty of applause, obviously, as well. So good stuff from the Nebraska men's basketball scrimmage yesterday. We will keep tracking health, shooting numbers, starting lineup, all that, as we are just 2 weeks away from the opening exhibition scrimmage against Grand Valley State. So definitely stay tuned for that. When we get back, let's dive into some Big Ten football. Oregon, the Ducks come into the conference and take down Ohio State. Penn State rallies to beat USC. Illinois survives a high-scoring scare. And Iowa and Wisconsin, are they legit or just flashes in the pan? He's Strick. I'm Austin. You're listening to On the Block, brought to you by Nebco. Don't go anywhere. Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for ready-mixed concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they pay for CDL training. Apply today and start your new career with a $2,500 hiring bonus. From Nebco's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Hi, my name is Molly Party. I'm a realtor with MP Dodge Real Estate. I'm a newly licensed agent and considered numerous brokerages before deciding on MP Dodge. I chose the company that gives me the most support in my new career, plus guidance and encouragement along the way. MP Dodge has a unique mentoring program for new agents. It's helped jumpstart my career and has a supportive management team and administrative staff. So if you're contemplating a career in real estate, look no further than MP Dodge. It will be the best decision you make.
The temperature and leaves are falling daily, so that means it's time for a new pair of shoes for the fall season from Brown Shoe Fit. Now, through October 31st, take $15 off any regular priced fall shoe and boots. Brands like Keen, Obos, Echo, Taos, and Atrex, all $15 off. Some exclusions may apply. See store for details. This is the sale that you've all been waiting for. So get down to Brown Shoe Fit on 66th and Q.
Time for a new heating and cooling system? Get the options, brand, and efficiency that best fits your family and your home. Call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Be sure to check out the top-selling Recomp. Recomp helps build lean muscle and strength while decreasing body fat. Recomp is ideal for men and women of all ages trying to look their best. Recomp can only be found in Nutrition Authority. For info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Sartor Hamann Jewelers is celebrating 119 years as Lincoln's top choice for fine jewelry. Join us for our anniversary sale going on now through October 20th. Enjoy an exclusive 20% off on in-stock items, including dazzling diamond jewelry, exquisite rings, and luxury watches. This once-a-year event is our way of saying thank you to the community that has supported us for over a century. Mark your calendars and celebrate this milestone with us by indulging in spectacular savings only at Sartor Hamann Jewelers.
What a day. I could sure use an afternoon pick-me-up. Hold up. The new 93.7 The Ticket location has a milk, coffee, and tea inside? Oh, yeah. This is a game changer.
Need an afternoon pick-me-up? How about a coffee or smoothie on your way to work? Stop by the Ticket Mill location on 1040 O Street to get your go-to drink or try out our new game day drinks exclusive to the Ticket Mill location. We know it'll make your day a million times better.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket as soon as the clock hits 0 for the Jay Foreman postgame show. Listen to expert analysis from the Husker Hall of Famer, an 8-year NFL veteran, for 90 minutes after the game. The Jay Foreman postgame show, sponsored by Anderson Ford, Tanner's Bar and Grill, Tavern 180, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Vinnie Kreekak of State Farm Insurance, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is On the Block. It's brought to you by our great friends at Nebco. If you're looking to start your new career today, you can check them out at nebcoinc.com. We're jumping into some Big Ten football here. We'll hit the national scene to lead off the 3 o'clock hour. Stricky, game of the weekend, maybe game of the year, maybe too early to decide that at this juncture. Oregon hosting Ohio State absolutely lived up to the billing. I thought Oregon was about to Mark Helfrich itself right off the cliff again, going for 2 all those times, not being able to convert, but the Ducks pull out a dramatic 32-31 win in Eugene. Dylan Gabriel does his thing, 23 of 34 through the air, 341 yards and 2 touchdowns. James, the running back, 23 carries, 115 yards and a touchdown, all against what was the number 1 defense in college football coming into the day. What does a win like this tell you about Oregon under Dan Lanning right now? You're muted, Stricky.
He has to be excited because when you look at his record against top 5 opponents, it was just as bad as Ryan Day's. Somebody was going to break through, and it ended up being Dan Lanning, and shout out to him. The question then becomes what we talked about: what happens, and do they have the opportunity to recover from it? But what happens, and who dictates the pace of what the Big Ten is going to be moving forward after this particular game? Is it going to ultimately end up being a rematch? Is somebody going to end up standing up and taking care of business? Look at what Illinois is doing. Look at what some across the, obviously Indiana, and they're going to face Nebraska this upcoming weekend. There's still some shakiness in the Big Ten, and no one knows how it's going to play out. And that's what I think is making the Big Ten really interesting right now, whereas the ACC is still, there's about 5 teams that are still vying for supremacy there, whereas here in the Big Ten, it's a lot of unknowns. It's a lot of maybes or what ifs, or if this happens, then that. So it's still a lot to be determined in the Big Ten.
Oregon was, of the two teams, the one that had looked shakiest coming into a game like this, right? Ohio State had absolutely dominated everyone on its schedule. 52-6, 56-0, 49-14, 38-7, and then 35-7 were the Buckeyes' 5 wins. Whereas Oregon struggled to put Idaho away, beat a good Boise team by only a field goal. UCLA hung around with them for half. Even Michigan State did as well. Was this just as simple as Oregon was at home, home field advantage played into it, and if this game was in Columbus, Ohio State would have won? Or was this, hey, Oregon might actually just be better than Ohio State right now?
I mean, that's possible, man. I mean, that's very possible that could have been the outlook. It just happens to be home and home. And that's why I say you've got to take advantage when you get a ranked opponent or you get somebody that comes into your home. Some have taken advantage of that. Some have squandered that. Some at home, if they would have made a little bit more of an aggressive stance or move, they could have ended up with a special day. Some did that, i.e. your Purdue's, and not Purdue's, but your Vanderbilts, and they took chances and ended up, hitting the lottery for them. So right now, I don't think anything they could have done different. I think their stars stepped up. I think it was called well. Some of the plays, I thought offensive pass interference that they called on Smith, I think it was legit. So I don't think there was nothing that happened that stole it from them. But, home and home situation, they'll get a crack at them next year.
Makes sense. The other game that happened on the West Coast, I think, deserves some attention, Stricky. USC and Penn State. Trojans up 20-6 at halftime. Drew Aller was struggling, but the Nittany Lions turn it on in the second half. They win the last 30 minutes, 24-10. They end up finding a way to force it to overtime. They end up scoring a touchdown with, trying to remember how, like 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. USC throws a pick. Penn State throws a pick. We go to overtime. USC goes backwards, 4 plays, -3 yards. That Penn State defense that's been so renowned steps up, forces the Trojans backwards. And Penn State doesn't gain much yardage. They only get 6 yards, but it's close enough for them to kick through a game-winning field goal. Penn State now 6-0 in the conference. But, Strick, I think you're going to agree with this next statement. I still don't put Penn State ahead of Ohio State in the Big Ten rankings because Penn State hasn't beat Ohio State in so long. There should be a clear path for the Nittany Lions to be the team to challenge Oregon in the Big Ten Conference Championship game, but I don't trust them. I just don't trust Penn State, right? The only game that Penn State should really have to worry about on their schedule is hosting Ohio State in the first week of November. If they win that game, they should go to the Big Ten Championship game. But I still think a rematch between Ohio State and Oregon is more likely because I just trust the Buckeyes a little bit more right now.
Yeah. I can't even refute anything you just said there because I feel the same way. I don't trust them. I don't trust them. We said it on the block that this was a trap game. This was a trap game, and it was going to say a lot either one way or the other about what and who Penn State is. When you look at the numbers, nothing bad out of Altmaier. Okay, pretty good. Good numbers. Still struggled against the run. Purdue is not a strong running team, and yet in 17 carries, you had Ryan Brown go for over 100. That's a scary proposition. And then you have, this is why I said, man, you should have been using the tight end. I'm sorry, I'm tripping. I'm saying Altmaier. Aller. I meant Aller.
Yeah.
Aller. But then they have the running back go for over 111 yards. But then where their strength is, I think has the potential because they're very heavy and dominant in the pass game by using their tight end.
Mm-hmm.
So Tyler is heavily used by them. Tyler Warren is heavily used by them, and I think that could be a setup for how to beat and defeat them is really honing in and making sure Tyler Warren isn't going to kill you or affect you. Similar like what a lot of teams try to do with Kansas City and Kelsey. So they're still shaky to me, man. They're still not somebody when they walk into the building that I'm like, yeah, this feet's going to run away with this one. I don't see it. Not yet.
Aller's been better. Warren's going to be the first tight end off the board. I feel pretty confident, and I like their offensive coordinator. But until they get it done, you can't pick them to get it done. Just like some other teams we'll talk about, maybe in Oxford, Mississippi, coming up here at the top of the 3 o'clock hour. But Strick, Illinois survives a shootout with Purdue 50-49. That game goes to overtime. Purdue, I believe, goes for 2 and misses it. Illinois got sloppy late, allowed Purdue to tie that thing up and send it to overtime. Strick, that's a weird game, I think, to look back on and judge, because Nebraska dominated Purdue statistically, right? Won that game pretty handily. And then Illinois, right? We knew Purdue's defense wasn't good. So seeing Illinois put up 50 on Purdue, probably not shocking. Seeing Purdue put up 49 on Illinois tells you maybe there were some more opportunities. And it's kind of a bummer that Nebraska wasn't able to do that same thing, open things up a little bit more. And yes, I get, game flow dictates it, right? Sometimes you get dragged down to or pulled up to the level that your opponent is playing at. Seems like neither team was all that interested in playing much defense. But it's a bummer to see a pretty bad Purdue offense put up 49 on a team that Nebraska could only muster 24 against. You muted.
And again, your best running back was your quarterback in that game. Like you said, there were opportunities, I think, for Dylan Raiola to step up and maybe take advantage. They used it. They used him as an extra source for over 100 yards. And it isn't, he's solid, but he ain't Jaden Daniels or nothing like that, right? So for them to use them as a weapon, that's good. Again, to me, all the way across the board, that Nebraska-Illinois game, it looked tentative. There was nothing aggressive, both on the defensive and the offensive side. But like I said, Purdue's going to go fight. They're fighting for their lives as well. They gave them a great run. But this is what you need. You need to be able to know that you can win one-score games. Illinois has proven they can do that. Nebraska still has to do more of it. And then they'll gain more confidence and be able to hopefully have more success in winning those.
Nebraska won its one-score game against Rutgers, final score of 14-7. Well, Strick, Wisconsin won a 5-score game against Rutgers, 42-7. Again, Nebraska has looked better than Wisconsin has, I would say, so far this year. But Wisconsin has the 2 bigger wins, right? They beat Purdue 52-6, not 28-10. They beat Rutgers 42-7 instead of 14-7. The Badgers' 2 losses, 42-10 to Alabama and 38-21, despite leading at halftime on the road at USC. Was I overlooking Wisconsin? Was I writing them off too early? Or is this just a function of, hey, Purdue's not good and maybe Rutgers isn't as good as Nebraska gave him credit for?
I think this is across the board. I think from any given week, a team can rise up. To me, Iowa's looked bad. They look bad, but they rise up, right? Mm-hmm. Like you said, there's nothing special about Wisconsin when you got an opportunity to watch them, but then they rise up. And you're going to have this. And then you have teams that look very dominant from one week to the next, and then they lay an egg. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a crazy dynamic like that. Like with Wisconsin, to me, is they're a team that you really have to just be ready for across the board. You don't have a worry about Rutgers, but you know they're going to scrap and they're going to fight. Now, Wisconsin, I'm still kind of uncertain of who they are, but here's the issue: they're well coached. That's a good coach.
Mm-hmm.
He still trying to figure it. He's a good coach, so he's going to get his guys ready. It's a matter of whether or not they buy in or they can perform. You miss on the quarterback. Anytime you miss on the quarterback, you're going to have trouble. And so now they're still trying to find themselves in their identity and who they are. So you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad.
They did switch quarterbacks. Tyler Van Dyke got hurt, so it's been Braden Locke the last couple weeks. And sometimes that's just the simple change, right? You simplify the playbook, you change the playbook. Maybe Braden Locke fits the offense better than the highly touted transfer Tyler Van Dyke. Iowa, you mentioned, rolls over Washington 40-16. And Strick, it's really been a mixed bag for these conference newcomers, right? You have Oregon at the way top. You got UCLA at the way bottom after they lose 21-17 to Minnesota. And then really mixed bags in the middle between USC, who's 3-3 overall, gotten beat by Michigan and now by Penn State with a conference win over Wisconsin. And then Washington, who's just all over the place. Lose to Rutgers, beat Michigan, lose to Iowa. Kind of what we expected, right? We expected Oregon to be good, UCLA to be bad, and a whole bunch of wait and see. And that's really borne out, I think, through 6 or 7 games for the newcomers from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten.
Yeah, and it's not good. I think you're going to see more of it. And as crazy as that sounds, it looks like it may be a precursor to what we're going to see in basketball too. I think you're going to see a lot of that because there's a lot of unknowns about what teams who had a lot of veteran leadership in like an Iowa and even a Wisconsin. We don't know. And then the losing of highly talented guys like Chucky Hepburn and Storr. You don't know what's in store. You know what's going to be there, and I think we're going to see a mirror of that also in basketball as that comes up.
I'm with you. Well, we'll go over kind of the Ken Pomeroy projections for that as well. There's a really interesting stat if you look forward to some of those projections. We also have a couple things on the text line to get to. So 402-464-5685. We'll take a short break, answer your questions on the text line when we get back to On the Block.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Sartor Hamann Jewelers is celebrating 119 years as Lincoln's top choice for fine jewelry. Join us for our anniversary sale going on now through October 20th. Enjoy an exclusive 20% off on in-stock items, including dazzling diamond jewelry, exquisite rings, and luxury watches. This once-a-year event is our way of saying thank you to the community that has supported us for over a century. Mark your calendars and celebrate this milestone with us by indulging in spectacular savings only at Sartor Hamann Jewelers.
The temperature and leaves are falling daily, so that means it's time for a new pair of shoes for the fall season from Brown Shoe Fit. Now, through October 31st, take $15 off any regular priced fall shoe and boots. Brands like Keen, Obos, Echo, Taos, and Atrex, all $15 off. Some exclusions may apply. See store for details. This is the sale that you've all been waiting for. So get down to Brown Shoe Fit on 66th and Q.
Plains Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
At Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, we're ready, reliable, and recommended. Water heater acting up or your sump pump on the fritz? Call Action. Summer's around the corner. Is your AC working? Are you sure? Call Action. Electrical problems? I'm telling you, call Action. Call Action for a free same-day estimate or a trusted second opinion. You heard that right, a free same-day estimate. 402-423-6960. ActionLincoln.com.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today. Frost likely this morning. Otherwise, we'll see mostly sunny skies for today. an afternoon high around 62. Tonight, mostly clear skies with a low around 37. And tomorrow, more frost in the morning and sunshine for the day. We see a high around 57. I'm meteorologist Kyle Bucket from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You never think cancer will happen to you. I smoked for over 40 years. My doctor recommended that I get annual lung cancer screening. They were able to catch my cancer at stage 1. It's never too late to quit. Even if you're still smoking, you need to ask your doctor about annual lung cancer screening. Just 30 minutes a year could save your life.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, everyone. Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
This show's pretty rockin', huh?
Yeah, I'm so glad my State Farm agent helped me go.
Huh?
My State Farm agent. They help me with options to personalize my auto insurance to get a great rate that fits my budget, so I don't have to give up the things I love.
Wow. Hey, so do you think I could get your State Farm agent's number?
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krekak, at 402-474-1173.
Individual premiums and budgets will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now. In our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m. Hi, Sean Callahan here for Couple Chevrolet GMC, and we want to thank all of our customers for a great September. And now it's time for our annual Halloween sales event happening right now at Koppel. Get 0% financing at Koppel. You heard right, 0% financing on select new models. Also, huge discounts up to $11,500 are available. It's our annual Halloween sales event. Get $11,500 off or 0% financing at Koppel. So please stop on by or check us out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. 0% with proof credit.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're wrapping up hour one of On the Block here on 93.7 The Ticket, as well as on theticketfm.com and on our free app for your phone and on our social media streams. Wherever it is you're tuned in to us, we really appreciate that and your engagement. Couple things from the text line here, Strick. 8018 says, with Aiden Hutchinson out, do you see Ndamukong Suh going back to Detroit to play? And you're muted, my friend.
Hear that noise?
Aha. I'll answer well as we wait for Strick. Yeah. No, I do not see Ndamukong Suh going back to Detroit, right? Aiden Hutchinson is a true edge rusher. Ndamukong Suh is a pretty true interior player, especially at this age and these days. So, no, I really don't see a reunion for Ndamukong Suh in Detroit. As cool as that might be for Lions fans, unless a DT gets injured or they get desperate, I just don't see a reunion there in the Motor City. Rick from Wahoo says, how can Pittsburgh remain number one in volleyball when they lost yesterday? That just goes to show you the polls are a big joke. Stricky, you mentioned this, definitely worth bringing up here. SMU got another one. Nebraska ranked number one when they went down to Dallas, got those SMU, I would say hands, but they're the Mustangs. So got the SMU hooves, I guess you could say. Mustangs beat the Huskers. And then Pitt Pitt goes down. Pitt has looked dominant all year long, but SMU finds a way to get it done. Apparently, SMU is unstoppable in Dallas, which is a credit for them. Still unfortunate for Nebraska that you had to go down and lose, but hey, at least you're not alone anymore.
Yeah, you weren't the only one to have to go down like that, so that's a good thing. That's a positive. You don't look as bad being the number one. And I actually think it helped Nebraska more than it hurt because it allowed them to wake up a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Last thing then for this segment before we go to break and get to hour two. You mentioned the Ken Pomeroy rankings and standings. Nebraska 56th preseason. They were 58th last year. So a 2-spot improvement for the Huskers in the preseason poll. And Kevin Sweeney, who's College Basketball Central on Twitter, says, here's his favorite stat about the projected parity in the Big Ten. There are 3 total games on the Big Ten conference schedule with projected spreads greater than 9 points. 3 out of all the games played. It's Purdue by 10 or more over Nebraska, USC, and Rutgers, all at home, all at Mackey Arena. So you talk about parity, Strick. We can even see in the preseason that all of these teams in the Big Ten are clustered so tightly together. I think it's going to be a league that comes down to that last media timeout, that last 4 minutes of the game. Whoever wins the 4 minutes into half and 4 minutes out of half probably sets themselves up really well. There's not a dominant team. There's not a clear number one. There's really not even a clear bottom team. That's why I think this is going to be one of the most fascinating Big Ten men's basketball seasons to watch in recent memory. And then we'll see if Nebraska can lean on its veteran presences to win some of these games late.
That's what it's going to come down to. You're going to have to win the close game. You're going to have to win the one-score game. You're going to have to win the last second game. That's why the execution is going to be so important. This is why the precision is going to be so important. All of the things in securing rebounds and knowing time scoring situations. This is why veteran leadership is going to be important, but you got to hope that you can get easier baskets than you've had to in the past. Sometimes it's so hard, or sometimes they don't run for opportunities, and sometimes they get to a set and don't run one. So they've got to be better in those areas. And, for me, like, when you look at the rankings right now, there's really no Big Ten team shows up in the top 10 until you get to the top 15. And it's, again, because of a lot of this unknown. It's a lot of this unknown that's out.
Mm-hmm. The AP Top 25 did come out today. It's Kansas, Bama, UConn, Houston, and Iowa State in the top 5. First Big Ten team in the rankings, to Strick's point, Purdue at number 14. Then you get Indiana at 17. You have UCLA at 22. Rutgers at 25. And then I also believe, Illinois, top team, first team out. They were at 26th. So you're a lot of teams kind of clustered around there between 14 and really 50 in the rankings. And again, according to Ken Pomeroy, every Big Ten team is in the top 75, which tells you a lot about the depth of the league, if nothing else.
And it shows the shift. And it shows SEC and SEC and Big 12 dominant.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And we're seeing that at Ken Pom. Also, Bart Torvik and Evan Miyakawa put out their rankings today. Similar story, where the Big Ten is probably the deepest conference, but more star power at the top for those other leagues. He's Strick. I'm Austin. You're listening to On the Block. We are brought to you by Nebco. When we get back, we'll go around the country, talk some more college football. Ole Miss falls again. Brian Kelly keeps things going at LSU. What's the state of the Big 12 championship race? Is Utah still in it? Are they disqualified? And in the ACC, how much is the ACC trying to pull strings to get a Miami-Clemson championship game? All that and more ahead in hour 2 of On the Block. You won't want to miss it.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket as soon as the clock hits 0 for the Jay Foreman postgame show. Listen to expert analysis from the Husker Hall of Famer, an 8-year NFL veteran, for 90 minutes after the game. The Jay Foreman Postgame Show, sponsored by Anderson Ford, Tanner's Bar and Grill, Tavern 180, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Vinny Kreekak of State Farm Insurance, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you worried about storm damage causing issues with your basement? F Foundation Repair fixes basements with supreme waterproofing and exact concrete leveling for residential or commercial clients. They service wet basements, leaky walls, damp crawl spaces, bowing or cracked bricks or drywall, and more. Whether you're in Southeast Nebraska, the Tri-Cities area, or Northeast Kansas, they'll easily make the trip to you. Get a free evaluation today by visiting WeFixBasements.com or call 402-804-1024. F Foundation Repair. We fix basements.
Hello.
Angela, we have to break up.
But why?
Because you're a robot and I'm just a guy trying to get better internet.
It's Aloe Fiber, isn't it? I always knew you wanted faster speeds. My contract isn't good enough for you.
Face it, Angela, they let me talk to real people.
Press 4 to break my heart. Oh wait, you already did.
Visit aloefiber.com to switch today.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
College football in Lincoln, America. The time has come. Start your game day off right with the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show. Join the ticket crew as they bring you all the coverage you need to get you ready for the action. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show, brought to you by General Fire and Safety, Raisin Canes, Perch Merch, Sunbelt Rentals, Mullen Motors, Select Plumbing, and the Kindler Hotel on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
Ryan, with all this red and all these people around, I'm still not seeing the tailgate.
Todd Spidell, former body shop owner, terrible driver.
We're getting close. Now, did you know with 3 locations in Lincoln and hundreds of years of combined technician experience, we can get Husker fans back on the road even quicker and safer after their tailgate mishaps? Oh, Todd, turn left right here.
Left or right?
Left, right here.
Right?
Well, you wait for the tow truck. I'm getting a hot dog.
Well, I guess while I'm waiting. All right! Most recommended! Eustace Body Shop!
Woohoo! Dude, you should be on American Idol.
You really think so?
No.
Accidents happen, even to Husker fans. If it happens to you, call Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
You never think cancer will happen to you. I smoked for over 40 years. My doctor recommended that I get annual lung cancer screening. They were able to catch my cancer at stage 1. It's never too late to quit. Even if you're still smoking, you need to ask your doctor about annual lung cancer screening. Just 30 minutes a year could save your life.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
You've seen them come and go. Franchise testosterone clinics that pop up and then whoosh, they're gone. These franchise clinics quickly find out it's not easy to compete with Limitless Male. Limitless is locally owned and operated with a flawless protocol that has elevated them to be the best in men's testosterone replacement and sexual performance. By adding GLP-1s, our patients are losing weight in a healthy way. To feel your optimal best, schedule a free consult at limitlessmale.com.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Early break.
Anthony in the mailbag says, good morning, guys. Question for the mailbag. If you were trapped in a 10 foot by 10 foot concrete room with one animal, what is the largest animal you could kill with nothing but your bare hands?
I'd like to think I could whip an ostrich.
Get a hold of his neck. He's going to whip him around. He's going to whip him around.
Early break from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by NEBCO. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Welcome in hour 2 of the show, brought to you by our wonderful friends at NEBCO. They are hiring for constructors. They're looking for some general laborers. They are also hiring for ready-mixed concrete, looking for CDL drivers. If that sounds like you or something you're interested in, check them out at constructorslincoln.com, readymixedconcrete.com, or nebcoinc.com. Austin Norman in studio, Stricky on the road. Appreciate him tapping in. We appreciate you as well for listening and giving us your comments here throughout the show. 402-464-5685, or leave a comment on stream. Jim, appreciate you. You've been active, as well as Monty Bags on Twitter. Appreciate you guys as well. Keep them coming. Here's the question for you. Which is your favorite college football game of the weekend? Nebraska didn't play, so outside of the Huskers' idleness, what was your favorite game to watch this weekend? We'll dive into the National College Football slate for 15, 20 minutes or so, and then call up Brian Munson of Husker Online. Some recruiting news for the Huskers that's definitely worth getting to. Strick, let's just start at the top. Let's start on Friday. Utah goes down late night in Tempe, 27-19. Arizona State leads that game 13-9 at halftime, holds on in the second half, a 27-19 win. Sun Devils 1 win away from bowl eligibility. Utah now 4-2 and 1-2 in the Big Ten. But to me, Strick, the story is Cam Rising made it back, but he was 16 of 37 through the air and threw 3 interceptions. We know Cam Rising's story, how hard he's fought to get healthy over the last, really few years. Bad injury after bad injury. This time it's on his hand. Kyle Whittingham announced today that Cam Rising is out for the foreseeable future, which means Isaac Wilson, younger brother of Zach Wilson, is the starter until further notice. Strick, it's admirable that Cam Rising keeps putting in the work to try and be able to play, to be out there for his team, but clearly he's hampered. Clearly he's not playing well. I get as a competitor, you want to do everything in your power to put yourself on the field, but if you're Kyle Whittingham, were you doing your team a disservice in accomplishing its goals of getting to the Big 12 championship game by running out a maybe 50% Cam Rising rather than a closer to healthy Isaac Wilson?
Austin, that's a great point. I had to step inside because that noise is just absolutely crazy. That's a great point. I always think it's better to run out somebody who is more prepared, who is ready, is not hampered by an injury, that's not hurting or can actually perform at, a high percentage and do a lot of the stuff that you would expect him, being able to roll out, being able to throw on the run, being able to elude pressure. You would be better suited to have somebody there. The issue is frustration with Cam Rising is absent, not just this year, but in the past. And then when you've seen how well he's done when he has been in there, and when he has been healthy, you want that because you can see it looks as if things are starting to slip away, right? And so you want to throw in probably the best opportunity you have. And it's very similar to what Nebraska did last year with Rick Mass, Rick Mass wasn't in full strength, coming off the knee injury. But he was able to give you even the illusion, or even have days. Sometimes you're going to have good days, sometimes you're going to have bad, but he gives you the illusion that everything is still intact. And when he has good games, it's excellent. But when he has bad, it's very noticeable. But you don't want to have to rely on the injury being the issue to where they're not having success.
Utah's remaining schedule isn't exactly murderer's row. They host TCU, go to Houston before the holy war against BYU. Then they finish out with 2 of 3 on the road at Colorado, hosting Iowa State, who's sneakily into the top 10 at number 9, and then go to UCF to finish the year. Utah at 1-2, absolutely not out of the Big 12 conference race. But Strick, I think Kansas State helped play its way back in. They go on the road. Again, another late night game, but this one was on Saturday. The Wildcats take down conference foe Colorado 31-28. It was a legit game. It was back and forth, 14-7 K-State at half. Colorado, put up some points in the second half, but not quite enough to get the job done. Let's talk about Kansas State first. They're number 18 in the country. How seriously are you taking them in terms of the threat to win the Big 12? Are they a nice story that's going to end up a little bit short? Or is Kansas State still maybe the Big 12's best hope at, the automatic college football playoff berth?
Well, I mean, they're putting themselves in a position to be that because they're winning these type of games. They're tough team that has been there before, tough team that has experienced the hurt and the pain of late season losses that cost them. But when you look at their schedule, as long as they handle the business that they need to handle, they took care of Arizona when they were ranked, got them at home, and they took care of another team, another ranked opponent, both ironically at 20 in Oklahoma State. Go on the road and win a hard-fought game at Colorado. So now you just gotta do the same thing in Virginia. Kansas has been a disappointment. Houston is not very good. Arizona State is capable, but you got them at home. The only real challenge is going to be late. You got to go to Iowa State and take care of them. So really, it's all in front of you. You're the determining factor of what that's going to look like. But let's be real about it. I think BYU has they're basically looking at this like who you talking about, Willis? And they're not happy about it too because they felt like they're deserving of the top spot in the Big 12. That's how they feel.
On the flip side, Colorado to lose at home against a team that was one of the preseason favorites coming in. But Stricky, if you're Colorado, you can look at it as, hey, we lost a lot of our biggest strength of our team, the wide receivers, to injury. Travis Hunter went out, shoulder injury in the first half. Jimmy Horton Jr. went out, Amarian Miller, and then Terrell Timmons Jr. as well. So for Colorado, it is a tough pill to swallow with the loss of the game. But if you're down Hunter or Horn or Miller for any extended period of time, that's a problem, let alone all three of them.
Well, they're already, a team that struggles, especially offensively, with protecting Shador. Then you've got guys, because that's going to rely on guys being able to break and release and get space pretty quickly on people. And when he's able to evade and give them a little bit more time to still be able to break and break contain and get some form of space, when the protection does break down, right? So losing those guys and those veteran guys that you have to injury, it makes it a little bit tough because I'm sure those windows are going to narrow a little bit more, and you're already in a tough situation. You don't have a run game at all. I mean, let's just be honest. What the reason that they've lost, I think, 2 of their games, you've got to look at what their deficiencies are, and those deficiencies got magnified because you saw what Giddens did to him in the run game. That's something that's just so tough to overcome.
That it is. Let's jump to the SEC then, Stricky. Lots going on in that conference over the weekend. We'll start just north of you. Dallas, Red River rivalry, Texas and Oklahoma. This one was all Texas. Quinn Ewers makes his return from injury. Wasn't great, wasn't elite, did enough to get the job done. That Oklahoma offense is in rough shape. And Strick, there's a reason Texas is number one. They deserve it. They have been the team that has dominated the most, taken care of business the most all year so far. If you look at the Texas football schedule, it's a team that's rolling right now. They're hitting on all cylinders. They didn't lose a beat when, Quinn Ewers went down, right? They win a hard-fought game at Michigan that was, not as close as even the 31-12 final score would indicate. They beat the brakes off a bad Mississippi State team and then dominate a rivalry. But, Strick, the big challenge for Texas comes up this weekend. They host number 5 Georgia. Georgia's looked shaky, but I still think, Strick, there's that DNA, that heart of a champion in Georgia. They're not going to be a pushover. They know how to take the show on the road. Texas has looked better so far this year, but I hope we get the game that we think we're going to on Saturday between Texas and Georgia.
But I think for Texas, they feel good because, one, you have the high intensity of a rivalry game against Oklahoma. You come in with a business-minded mentality and you beat the brakes off of them. Solid. Handle business. Get out unscathed. No crazy injuries. And it's a great prelude because of the intensity that you're going to have. That was a neutral field. That wasn't a home game. Both equally have access to the Dallas area, about the same distances. So it's not really a home game for either one of them. But this next one's gonna be. But like you said, the heart of the champion is gonna determine who's premier in the SEC, and that's what's coming up next week between those two.
And of course, Alabama is in the running there as well. They squeak by, and I do mean squeak by South Carolina's 27-25, the final score in that game. Strick, I saw this stat posted from Chris Vanini of The Athletic. He says in the last 2.5 games, so if you go back to the second half of the Georgia game, you include Vanderbilt and then South Carolina, Bama's been outscored by 19 points in the last 2.5 games, right? They found a way to win 2 of those games. For as high as Alabama was riding after the win over Georgia, I think it just goes to show that there is no perfect college football team at this point, right? You're starting to see some of the bumps in the road and kind of the boomer bust that's come with the Alabama offense. The defense stepped up and made plays. The defensive back almost took a knee in the end zone to tie things up for South Carolina with a safety, but he ends up bringing it back. Alabama wins the game. No harm, no foul. Alabama's looked good. Alabama's looked mortal. What do you make of the Crimson Tide right now?
I was trying to wait on this gentleman that's using this. I mean, you don't really have to use this thing up here, but of course it's you don't even have to do that. Let me go back. So, for me, the Crimson Tide situation is it's that roller coaster ride, man. You know what I mean? You got a new coach. You've got a quarterback that you got back. Style of play changes because you've got different OCs now, and you know what I'm saying? So there's some changes. But they play good, and then it's just hard to read because I don't know if they have the consistency of an Alabama team that you're used to seeing under Nick Saban, right? Mm-hmm. So there's week to week where we just don't know which team is going to show up. I also felt going into this game of the trap game for them. I really did. I knew South Carolina was going to show up. I knew there was a trap game. And we just didn't know what Alabama team was going to show up, but they did. They ended up ultimately doing just enough to win the game. I wouldn't feel comfortable in what they're doing to win those games, but at the same time, it's just one of those things that win, baby, and by any means necessary, so you can continue to stay in the conversation. That's all that matters.
Alabama's next opponent, Tennessee, should be a really fun game in Knoxville coming up on Saturday. Tennessee squeaks by Florida, 23-17 final score. But Strick, the Gators are down Graham Mertz. It's been back and forth between him and DJ Lagway. Mertz had a pretty darn good year last year. He hurt his leg. He is now out for the year. Tennessee, another team that looked like they were legit first 3 weeks of the year. Dominate Chattanooga, dominate a solid NC State team, beat Kent State 71-0. And then the offense has just kind of forgot how to play football. 25 points out of good, not elite Oklahoma defense. Only 14 mustered on the road at Arkansas. And then even just 23 against a Florida team that's gotten shredded. I don't know what to make of Tennessee under an offensive-minded head coach in Josh Heupel. Nico's been fine. Not necessarily lighting the world on fire, which is fine for a young guy. But Tennessee's got to find some answers fast. At least the defense is keeping them in some games. But this isn't a defense-first team. I'm a little bit worried about how long it's going to last for the Vols.
Yeah, and for me, Florida's a bad team. They're not very good. So to not be able to just dominate the way that you, especially in the run game, they're very porous on the defensive side of things. And for your running back to get 100 yards, but to do so in almost 30 carries, that's basically saying we're just trying to get out of here unscathed, right? You didn't really put it in Nico's hands. You pretty much played field position all day and just looked for opportunities just to win this game, and you ultimately held off just enough in overtime. And so they just wanted to get out of there, it seemed like to me. It wasn't like they felt confident in how they were going to win this game, playing their style of football and the way that they play. And you just said, I just got to get out of here any way I can with a win.
LSU gets out of its own way, wins 29-26. Stricky, there are some fired up boosters in Oxford, Mississippi, pouring all of that money into the transfer portal.
Yeah.
To show for it, you're 5-2, 1-2 in the SEC, and not really many opportunities left for a needle-moving victory on the schedule. Ole Miss, I thought, should have been a playoff team this year. Looks like they are, Elijah Mooring their chances away right now. Ole Miss is in danger of making the playoff, and that's not going to make boosters happy.
Bruh, you said Ole Miss was it. Coming into this season, you said they were it, and I kept telling you. I looked at you with that, almost threw my hat. I was almost threw my hat, but I did look at you and say, shaky. They're real. I knew they were shaky. They're in essence a Penn State to me type, where they'll find a way to trick it off somehow, some way. Kiffin and Ole Miss, even as much hype as they get, sometimes the hype is starting to look like Notre Dame to me out of there now. Maybe it's just the name. It's a name brand team. They'll win one big game or so, but then they'll trick off another one or two, and next thing you know, they're nowhere to be found. They'll end up ranked, but are they really deserving? They're just the beneficiary of a power conference that they're in. I don't think they're very good, and I'm surprised they're even still getting the respect that they're getting.
Couple other just news and notes to get to when we get to the top 25 around college football. Pitt 6-0. They beat Cal 17-15. The vibes are completely different for Cal sitting at 3-3 as opposed to USC also sitting at 3-3. Cal fans are on the ride of their lifetimes. They're really enjoying it. USC fans are down in the dumps. And Stricky, I know that your dad's an Air Force guy, but how about Army and Navy? 5-1, or both undefeated still. Navy has beaten 5-1 Memphis, 3 1-win teams, and an FCS team. Army has not played the best schedule, but Army's up to number 23 in the country, and Navy number 25 in the AP poll. Sorry, Air Force, but man, we could be setting up for some real fun in the service academies at the end of the year.
That's gonna be dope. What do they face each other this year? I don't think they do.
Army and Navy, they always play each other. Army and Navy is always the week after conference championship games. So what we might have is Army and Navy play in the American championship game a week before they play their regularly scheduled game.
Wow, I see it now. That's interesting, and that's good. I think that's just good for. I think that's good for college football. I think it's good for the military academies. I think it's good all the way across the board. that it's lining up just before the holidays for that matchup. And if they come in, both of them undefeated still, that's just going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch. Style of football, the rivalry, they battle it out. Sometimes Navy transports Army, and sometimes Army goes in there and sets the tone for what Navy's going to do in the future. So both of these in a military style, the rivalry, it's going to be fun to watch. I'm looking forward to that one.
As you should be. He's Strick. I'm Austin. We're going to hit up our LVIP line when we get back from break. We got Brian Munson of Husker Online on the horn. A big, important visitor coming to town. We'll be right back here during On the Block.
You've seen them come and go. Franchise testosterone clinics that pop up and then whoosh, they're gone. These franchise clinics quickly find out it's not easy to compete with Limitless Male. Limitless is locally owned and operated with a flawless protocol that has elevated them to be the best in men's testosterone replacement and sexual performance. By adding GLP-1s, our patients are losing weight in a healthy way. To feel your optimal best, schedule a free consult at limitlessmale.com.
Hi, this is State Senator Carolyn Bosson. Education is a cornerstone for strong, vibrant communities. I voted for the largest investment in education in Nebraska history. As a state senator, wife, and mom, I believe Nebraska is a great place to work and raise a family. My husband Reggie and I are local family business owners and understand the valuable role of education in growing our community. This is Carolyn Bosson, and I will continue to support education in the legislature. Vote Carolyn Bosson on November 5th. Paid for by Bosson for Legislature.
General Fire and Safety has been keeping Lincoln businesses and commercial structures safe for more than 50 years. From a simple fire extinguisher to full fire suppression systems, Lincoln has trusted General Fire and Safety to provide top-of-the-line products, installation, and maintenance. If you're starting a new business in a brand new building, call on General Fire and Safety to help you plan a fire safety system that fits the specific needs of your business, employees, and customers. Call General Fire and Safety today at 402-261-0116.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
This show's pretty rockin', huh?
Yeah, I'm so glad my State Farm agent helped me go.
Huh?
My State Farm agent. They help me with options to personalize my auto insurance to get a great rate that fits my budget, so I don't have to give up the things I love.
Wow. Hey, so do you think I could get your State Farm agent's number?
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krekak, at 402-474-1173.
Individual premiums and budgets will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
Plains Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
Order like a champ at Raising Cane's. With tailgates of hand-battered chicken fingers and cane sauce and jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade, you can guarantee victory for every game day meal. Raising Cane's Chicken Finger, one love. Order online or on our app.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and we want to thank all of our customers for a great September. And now it's time for our annual Halloween sales event happening right now at Koppel. Get 0% financing at Koppel. You heard right, 0% financing on select new models. Also, huge discounts up to $11,500 are available. It's our annual Halloween sales event. Get $11,500 off or 0% financing at Koppel. So please stop on by or check us out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did 0% with Roof Credit.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? By placing your bets at Warhorse Sportsbook. Their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Landmark Implement helps you put dirt in its place with increased accuracy and greater speed thanks to the John Deere Smart Grade. This fully integrated 3D grade control system boosts job site productivity and reduces labor costs with fewer passes and less wasted material, meaning more bids won and higher margins. No masts, no cables, just clear views of the job site. Visit your local Landmark Implement today and discover the profit-boosting power of the Smart Grade and experience the Landmark difference.
Hello.
Angela, we have to break up.
But why?
Because you're a robot and I'm just a guy trying to get better internet.
It's Allo Fiber, isn't it? I always knew you wanted faster speeds. My contract isn't good enough for you.
Face it, Angela, they let me talk to real people.
Press 4 to break my heart. Oh wait, you already did.
Visit allofiber.com to switch today.
Step into healing at Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery. Our team of top-notch medical professionals turns pain into progress with state-of-the-art treatments and compassionate care. Visit prairieortho.com and discover the difference in quality orthopedic and plastic surgery services tailored to your unique needs. Your health matters, and Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery is dedicated to helping you thrive. Reach your full potential. Embrace a better tomorrow with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back here on the block. Austin Norman with you. Strick had to run, but that's okay. We're bringing in Brian Munson of Husker Online on our VIP line, brought to you by Allo Fiber. That's where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. Brian, how was your bye week?
Well, I'll let you know tonight after Monday Night Football.
Fair enough. In the college ranks, which game was your favorite?
Oh my goodness. Well, the Ohio State-Oregon game obviously was very entertaining. Got a chance to hang out for that one. Iowa State game was good. Trying to think what else I watched right off the top. Alabama was very interesting again. But I would say obviously it was the headliner. And then I liked the way that the K-State Colorado game obviously finished up late on Saturday night too.
You mentioned that Ohio State-Oregon game, and I think a lot of people are touting it as, hey, look at what Dan Lanning's doing in stockpiling talent up there in Eugene, recruiting, at a top, maybe not quite top 5 level, but certainly top 10 level up at Oregon. How much of that win was Oregon and its talent? How much of that loss was Ryan Day just can't win the big one?
Yeah, I think definitely a little bit of each. And I think Autzen is a tough place to go in and play, and that's obviously something that everybody in the Big Ten is going to have to get used to, is just the difference in venue. You've got a few anyway, or at least two that I can think of, Autzen and Husky that basically that are very, very difficult places to go in and play. They're extremely loud. And obviously then you got the difference in the time zones. There's a little bit of a difference. It's easier going right to left than it is left to right. But I think that there is something to be said about, the Ryan Day just can't close that one out kind of thing. And I thought it was really interesting because I saw it a couple of times. I loved the breakdown somebody put up there too about how Dan traded basically the illegal participation, for 4 seconds on the game clock. It was a wonderful, wonderful breakdown. And actually, it's one of those little curious things around the rules that when you get down into it, it's like you would give up 5 yards essentially when the other team doesn't either has limited timeouts or has no timeouts. And then you get that chance to basically get that clock to start. And then they don't get that time, basically, it doesn't get put back on the clock because it's part of a dead play. So it's a very, very, very interesting thing that kind of came out. So there's some savviness there too to Dan that I think maybe I didn't necessarily feel like he had So yeah, I think Oregon has a really, really good team. Obviously, there's a lot of guys that Nebraska was after the year before. Nebraska played against Gabriel when he was at OU. So yeah, there's definitely some talent up there, and it's going to be interesting to see how things kind of move forward, because I think Oregon had the top rated class in the nation last year. They got one of the better ones this year. So he's definitely stockpiling a lot of talent up there.
Speaking of stockpiling talent, Brian, I really liked your 3 and out from Wednesday, where you wrote about the Raiola effect, right? And I think most people would say, oh, you're talking about Dylan Raiola, his impact on the Huskers. No, you're talking about Dayton Raiola, his younger brother down there at Buford, throwing a touchdown to Jordan Allen that's been going viral. How much of an opportunity did Nebraska miss with Dylan Raiola to use that quote-unquote Raiola effect? And how are they learning with that and Dayton Raiola already being in the fold?
Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of phrased it as like that wave of, recruits that Nebraska kind of hoped to capitalize and follow, Dylan to Lincoln, crashed on the shore. And it was not a fruitful kind of thing. I mean, there was no time. I mean, you got him in December. He had months, leading up to signing day, or when he flipped to Nebraska to recruit a number of kids to Athens. And get him on the Georgia, commitment list, or at least get him warmed up to Georgia for the next year's class or the year after. And that's kind of where he met David Sanders Jr. So there was, look, Nebraska tried. They tried to reach back out to Ryan Wingo. Hey, guess what? We got the signal caller. Come on over. And it was just too late. There just wasn't enough time to maneuver. Now you have Dayton. He's not the 5-star guy, but look, he is coming into his own. I mean, he had the big pass to Jordan Allen a week ago. He had a couple to the Ole Miss commitment the other night. He is definitely a leader when it comes to watching the film, of that team and understanding what they're trying to do there at Buford. They're in the title hunt again to go win state. They're one of the top rated teams in the nation, despite the one loss they started out with. He's got them rolling. I mean, they don't have the same identity, like they did when Dylan was there. But, that's what it comes down to when it comes to just being a great leader. You deal with the things that you can do, and you don't focus on the things that you can't. And you go out there and manage the game, a la Trent Dilfer, to kind of drop somebody else that didn't have, great arm talent. He could go out there and manage a game, though, because when you had that defense, you didn't need to go out there and put up 35 points. You had to put up 20 because the other team wasn't going to put up 21. So that's a difference, I think, here. And I think Dayton's going to continue to get better. I mean, obviously the arm talent is there. He just hasn't had a lot of time in the cockpit, and just he'll get that. And I think Nebraska fans should be really excited, because obviously it's paid off here a little bit. Jordan Allen picks up an offer. His teammate follows him there, the 2026 defensive lineman, the 4-star. I think he'll continue to have more people to suggest to Nebraska, about guys that they should take a look at. And that is how that kind of came to be with Jordan Allen. It was really on a suggestion from Dayton.
So you invoke the name Trent Dilfer. Is that you prognosticating that Dayton will be a UAB football head coach at some point down the line? Because
it's possible. It's possible. And I tell you what, there wasn't a guy I like to use. I like listening to a number of guys, but when Trent was on the air, and he was breaking down quarterbacks in particularly, and he was doing something offensively in his kind of discussion, on TV, he was really fun to listen to. So I can only imagine, I think he got really fired up with one of his players earlier in the season, or maybe that was last season. But I mean, I think he's a super competitive guy, and I think he was a coach, or he was a quarterback that just understood what his limitations were and what his role really was on the team.
Back on Dayton Raiola then, in terms of the Raiola effect, obviously when you think about, a quarterback, you think about his teammates. Who can he bring with him from the skill positions or the line or even the defense? How often do schools, look at other schools and say, like Buford's area or district, however Georgia breaks it up, and say, hey, Dayton, make sure you go dap this guy up and drop the Nebraska bug in his ear after the game? Does that happen?
I'm sure that there's probably been conversation, not just with Dayton, but there'll probably be about, other guys. And let's just say that it's a conversation that happens between either parents or coach with the Nebraska staff or some sort of a staff member where it's like, hey, have you seen so-and-so play before? Oh yeah. Like we've seen him, like we know all about him or whatever, just kind of one of those things, not need to kind of get too far down the path in conversation and discussion, or whatever. And it's like, well, I think you would really, like a Nebraska offer, or it could be something along those kinds of lines. And then, maybe Nebraska and, casually tells Dayton or whatever, like, has he talked to you about Nebraska or whatever? It's not going to be something like where they can direct Dayton to kind of go out and tap a guy and say something, but they can have conversations. Like when he shows up, they know that he's the quarterback commitment for Nebraska. So there's people that are naturally going to be interested in having a conversation with him to kind of get his viewpoint and get some information about why'd you make that decision? What was it about Nebraska? There's obviously some things here that are very clear to people, from the outside, why Dayton could have chosen Nebraska, but in other particular people that don't have another legacy kind of tie, it would be something that they would want to discuss. And obviously, the success of the team and where things are at and how your brother is doing, those are all going to be things that are going to come up. So there's reasons for a lot of those players to go up there and catch up with him. And there's going to be guys that are going to point him out to, there'll be other players out there that they'll have somebody else, one of his friends or family members will point them out to him too and say, you might want to go catch up with Dayton. He's over here someplace. He's over there with the Buford guys. Go check him out.
We're talking with Brian Munson of Husker Online here on our Allo Fiber VIP line. Brian, we got some news of an official visitor coming to Nebraska at the start of November. Ethan Feaster, very highly rated wide receiver prospect. What do you know about Feaster?
Actually saw him last year as a freshman. Very fast. Got a great skill set for a guy. He was just a freshman. Like I said, I went out to watch Buford play. It was a scrimmage against Lancaster. So Quan Lacey was actually, still on the Nebraska commitment list. I saw that huge offensive tackle that DeSoto has, Byron. I can't think of what his last name is. I think it starts with an M. He's like, I thought for the longest time that I was just seeing things wrong about Byron until I made it down to the field. And then I realized, probably like Strick had many more opportunities to kind of have happen to him than it did to me. This dude was a full head taller than I was. And I was just like, could not get over how immense, and monolithic, this person was.
Byron Washington?
Byron Washington. There you go. Monster. 6'9.5", 6'10", something like that. And he's like close to 400 pounds. He's just, he would literally, like, you would put him into like a refrigerator box. He would have to duck and then he would fill it up. I mean, the dude is just enormous, and he can move. He can absolutely move too. So I don't know if Nebraska's offered him. I don't know what the chances are, but he's got a ton of really, really nice offers. But back to Feaster, young guy, looked good, great athleticism. He's got, several really nice offers already. He's got Baylor and A&M and Texas Tech. So all the in-state schools, are trying to get him to stay home. SMU. It's a good sign, though, that Nebraska's got him coming up there because you want to keep that tie into DeSoto, obviously one of the top programs in the Dallas area, to go along with your South Oak Cliff and, your Lancaster school, as well as, South Lake Carroll and Allen. Those are really the schools that come out of the area each and every year that everybody knows about nationally. But yeah, this is a good thing for Nebraska to have happen, is to get some traction going with some more top players in those future classes.
The obvious answer would be both, but if Nebraska could get either Michael Terry or Ethan Feaster, which do you think would be preferable?
I think Terry is one of the best prospects I think I've ever laid eyes on. That's a tough one. I think Terry could just about do anything you asked him to do, even go out there and punt the football. I just don't think I've found his limit. And he's like literally, I've used it before. I'll say it again. He's like Deebo Samuel. I mean, he is legitimately like same build, does the same thing for his high school, can run the football, can catch the football. He can absolutely play defense. He could really kind of play more of a hybrid style, XY kind of dude where he's, almost like like an oversized jumbo X and really playing tight end, but really athletic. The dude is special. He's super, super special.
The other prospect that I know you wrote about coming to Lincoln for that UCLA game, which is still Nebraska's next home game, which is kind of weird to think about. Kamari Moore, high school teammates with Isaiah Mose. What's going on with Kamari Moore?
Yeah, Kamari decommitted from Oklahoma at the end of September, and he had been committed to Oklahoma for 15, 16 months. And really, I mean, Nebraska was in a pretty good position with him when he decided to go ahead and jump into the OU class. But then, some things happened down the stretch and decides to go ahead and get out. And it's no secret. I mean, he very much is looking at Nebraska. It's really caught his eye about how things could be in Lincoln, knowing that Isaiah now has flipped on his commitment from Oregon and Nebraska, and now knowing that his old high school coach, Jamar Mosey, is in Lincoln as well on the staff under Matt Rule. So it's a little bit like old times, there. But I think that anybody and everyone, when they go out to school and people get told like, hey, you don't want to commit to the people. But I think as everybody would kind of say, it's one of those kind of creature comfort things that makes you forget about the hundreds of miles away that you are away from home when you have some people there that you can trust. And it's clear to me that Moore really understands that and feels that when it comes to Isaiah and his dad being there in Lincoln. And that's why Nebraska's in such a great spot with him.
And it would be a position that Nebraska doesn't have in its class already, right? He'd fill a little bit of a hole.
I do, because I think that there's a lot of size comparison between Tyson Terry and Nash Hutmacher, but I think Nash has got, even though they're both got that wrestling pedigree thing going for them, I still have always kind of viewed Tyson as more of a natural 3. You need kind of a run stopper, one tech, and that's really where Moore comes in. He's a 6'2". He's gonna be the kind of guy that's gonna get up to the 300, 315, 320 pound dude that can just, go eat the A gap. And that's really what you're looking for from that kind of guy. I like Tyson moving. I mean, that's really why I put him back out at a 3. I want him to go start working on a guard and just make it the guard's like longest afternoon ever. When he sees Tyson Terry across from him, he knows he can't take a play off because Tyson's going to move. Tyson's going to challenge him. Tyson's going to get upfield and get vertical on that guy. I think if they can land more to go along with, with Terry, with Malcolm Simpson, and also with Cade Pedshock. It's a really, really, really nice class on the defensive line. Probably as good a defensive line class as I can recall Nebraska bringing in quite some years.
How much of that is Terrence Knighton? How active has he been in some of these recruitments?
He's huge. I mean, he's literally about, the only thing that Malcolm Simpson would essentially talk about leading up to his official visit was what Knighton had to tell him. Because there was, Knighton, would compare, basically Simpson to himself, like how they were just kind of each were this Swiss Army knife kind of very versatile dude. And, Knighton basically did a lot of the same things. He'd play inside out. That's the way they see Simpson playing at the next level. So there's basically it's a relevancy. It's a, hey, this guy knows what it takes to play at the next level. He can see, some of his old self and me when he comes to watching me on the field and on the film. I think the guys love to hear that because obviously they know they're on the right path and they all want to go play in the NFL. And so if you can kind of show them that know the way to get there, that's pretty huge. And I know that with Pedshock, it was Knighton. As well as Coach Rule, but I think the biggest one was obviously with Simpson, and that's going to be one to kind of keep watching, obviously, because Texas is riding high. Texas has shown some late interest, obviously, in Malcolm, so it'll be very interesting to see how things kind of move forward. But, if he told me just last week, everything was still very, very good with Nebraska.
All right, Brian, I know you're counting down the hours to Monday Night Football. Josh Allen has struggled against the Jets in his career, but the Jets have fired their head coach. We get a Josh Allen bounce-back performance against the Jets?
Oh, he needs to. But, it's like Shakir's still out. You're still missing Ed on the defensive side of the football. You still don't have Milano back. I don't think they're going to have James Cook tonight. They're really down some dudes tonight. So it's going to be like a Kincaid, Dawson Knox, kind of a thing and that's fine. They've got to get back to the way that they started out. They've got to get back to just having fun, forget about the Ravens, forget about the Texans. And this is the game right here that they need to know that they can go run through these guys. They're going to see them twice. This will be the most difficult one in New York. I think that the division is incredibly winnable considering, who else is there with the Patriots and the Dolphins. So you got to go out and win this game plus 5 more, and you're going to be the divisional champion again. So hopefully that's a point of emphasis tonight to go out there and just be consistent and go make some plays. I hope that they take the reins off of him a little bit. It seems like there's really been a conscientious effort, I think maybe after the game 1 and how he hurt his left hand, his non-throwing hand, to kind of keep him from suffering any other type of undue injury. But it seems like, you can't keep that wild Mustang kind of, harnessed up. You got to let him go, and he's a tough dude. So hopefully they let him go ahead and run a little bit more tonight.
So is this a pop the legs on the recliner up sort of game for you, or is this a lean forward, edge of your seat, or pace around game for you?
Every game is a pace around. I love the games where I can sit back and be comfortable, but you're always just, whenever 2 scores is just never enough in the NFL.
Right. 2
scores is never enough. I don't even know. I saw some analytics, and I don't remember what the percentage was of how many games end up, by 3 points or less. There's just so few games that end up being quote unquote blowouts when they're 2 scores or more. And that's usually what it takes for me to kind of be like, okay, I can let the blood pressure go down right now, and I don't need to be pacing around here and yelling at the dogs and getting all upset with people. So yeah, it's really tense moments for me typically, when I'm watching the Bills.
All right, well, keep that heart rate down, get those steps up above over 10,000, enjoy it, and we'll talk to you soon, Brian.
I'm going to go work out right now. Just get some of that energy out of me right now.
Perfect. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it.
See ya. Bye.
Brian joined us on our Allo Fiber VIP line. Allo is where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. Really appreciate Brian helping on with us. When we get back, we'll cross over with Old School, put a bow on the block next.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? By placing your bets at Warhorse Sportsbook. Their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Hi, this is State Senator Carolyn Bosden. As a state senator, wife, and mom, I believe Nebraska is a great place to work and raise a family. My husband Reggie and I are local family business owners and proud to be involved in our community. Property tax relief is important to every family. Last year, I voted for the largest property tax relief package in Nebraska history, and I will continue to advocate for property tax relief. Vote Carolyn Bosden on November 5th. Paid for by Bosden for Legislature.
Time for a new heating and cooling system? Get the options, brand, and efficiency that best fits your family and your home. Call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Plains Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Hey everyone, Lance here with Black Label. We specialize in creating custom crafted decks, pergolas, patio covers, and more. Plus, our retractable screens, gazebos, and patio enclosures create the ultimate outdoor retreat. With over 50 years of combined experience, we're not just builders, we're creators of unforgettable memories.
Call them today at 402-730-6333 or visit blacklabelbuilt.com for a free consultation.
Let's turn your backyard dreams into reality.
Black Label Built, built to serve, built to last.
Here at Aspen Builders, our company is building more homes today than I thought we would ever build.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
You know, I am just shocked at how strong our market is here in Lincoln and at Aspen Builders. We're probably helping people right now more than ever get into a new home. We've been able to find pieces of ground we can develop affordably and keep our lot prices down a little bit. I think with our volume discounts and our office staff, 35 years of experience, we figure out a plan that's going to work great for you. We make it perfect. We make it fit your price range. All of this is part of the reason we're so busy.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today. Frost likely this morning. Otherwise, we'll see mostly sunny skies for today. An afternoon high around 62. Tonight, mostly clear skies with a low around 37. And tomorrow, more frost in the morning and sunshine for the day. We'll see a high around 57. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fletcher from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back one final time here during On the Block. Austin Norman with you. Stricky is out on business. Thanks to Brian Munson for stopping by. DP in for a crossover. Welcome in, DP.
Sir.
I believe you and I are both monitoring some NLCS action. And
we got some baseball justice, right? The BGs are out there. We know they're real. They exercise their judgment accordingly. They are just. They are fair, even if it might not seem like it.
Right.
It all balances out eventually. The Dodgers issue an intentional walk to load the bases to face Mark Vientos. Vientos says, "Thank you very much. Let me blast this one out of the park for a grand slam." 6-0 Mets. After that grand slam by Mark Vientos, you can understand trying to get it forced at every base, but as a hitter, what more motivation do you need than to have the opposing team intentionally walk the guy ahead of you to load the bases in a playoff game?
Yeah, there's some arrogance there. I mean, you're down 2-0, and I guess you feel like you're just better than the team you're playing. And you make that decision. I was never, as a skipper, I was never a fan of walking somebody to get to
someone else.
Yeah, I mean, in those situations, if I have the pitches in me to get this guy out, the next guy out, whoever the next guy is, it's a matter of pitches rather than matchup. And I mean, unless there's some stark difference between the 9-hitter and Shohei Ohtani.
If there's not a stark difference, it'd be a heck of a lineup.
Right. You're it's just a weird thing for me. I never I always exhale when somebody looked over and go, "Can I walk this guy?" To get to the next guy. Again, how you feel is how you feel. But baseball, you're right. The BGs are out there at work, and it's such a unique thing to have in a championship series, to have a team come into the series on a 4-game win streak against the opponent. And you like to think that there are different versions of teams that play, but I'm not sure that that's true, right? That ultimately your tendencies are your tendencies for a reason. And if you figure out, it's really hard to get a great team to play at a great level when you're dominating your opponent. Like, it's just hard to say, we beat them 5 times in a row.
But we got to clean X, Y, and Z up.
Be on point. And you know that your pitching rotation is in shambles, right? But you had to do it to get there. And they had to do it to get here. But you happened to catch them at a point where they had a starter ready and you have a group of guys ready.
There's a difference, distinct difference.
So there's all the things in play, but at 6-0 in the second inning, in the third inning, it's always interesting conversation that they literally took the playbook from last night and threw it at you.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is what we're doing? Yeah, this is
taste your own medicine.
And you remember every single run scored last night. Like, it's fresh to it. So to turn it around, here's the other thing with baseball. When if it's a doubleheader or a back-to-back, if you light somebody up, it's really hard on a short notice to turn that thing around. The Metropolitans have done that.
They have.
But we always say, you might want to save some of those runs for tomorrow. Like, just jokingly, like, again, let's not be arrogant. Let's be humble. Hey, it's okay to win 5-0, and let's hold these 5 other runs for tomorrow. But you like to get on a roll, and there you have it. So the Mets are doing their thing, and again, loving the fact that both championships are in play today. So tonight you get the Guards and the Yanks on that. And then which thing are you watching tonight? What's on the big screen for you?
It's got to be football. You're not making me watch the Guards and the Yankees.
Yeah,
I value my TV too much to want to throw my remote through it. I'm not emotionally invested in those Jets.
So good. Like, it's just petty Austin is like the best Austin.
He's always in there, just waiting for moments.
Right. He's just like, okay, yeah, I don't want to watch that. I'm fascinated by both of these matchups because the Mets and Guards had to do remarkable things to get there in the way that they did. And if I asked you what either of them did spectacularly, there's no real answer.
Guards would be the bullpen.
Right.
Bullpen locked up Cleveland a couple timely hits, and the Mets just find a new gimmick every week.
Yeah.
First it's Grimace, then it's the Pumpkins, and God only knows what's next.
Mr. Met coming back. Like, in full.
And then Mrs. Met for the World Series
right,
or something.
like in full form that at some point, Mr. Met, who do you bring back? If you're the Mets, so after game 2, you're going to go back to New York. Who do you bring back for Mets Dodgers? It can't be Piazza.
Can't it be, though?
It can't be Strawberry. The guys who played for both teams.
But if you bring them back, isn't that a flex?
I don't know.
They like us more?
I don't know, bro.
Piazza was my first guess.
Who do you bring back? Who do you bring back?
Not Carlos Beltran.
Right.
The way that went down.
There's a full list of players in the crossover that who would you bring over? Who would you bring back? Is it Hernandez, maybe? I don't know. Is it
too soon for David Wright? Juris Familia?
I don't know. Well, yeah, that's definitely
Daniel Murphy?
Daniel Murphy.
Addison Reed?
Didn't Murphy make a spin? I don't know that Murphy has. I don't know.
He's not out of witness protection in New York yet.
Right.
He's still living in the area, but he's not out of WWP.
Who do you bring back?
I don't know.
I don't know. Who threw out the first pitch last night? Do you remember? Do you know? Oh, Manny? Manram? Didn't Manram throw out the pitch for the Dodgers last night?
Yeah, it was Manny and then Sean Green.
Doesn't Manram go back?
Sean Green!
Wow. That is such a reach. But didn't Manram could flex and go to Cleveland and throw out their first pitch at home against the Yankees.
He could. Very much so.
What I mean.
Before we get out of here, I do want to ask you as well, because it was announced on Fox before the game. Clayton Kershaw said he's going to give it another run next year. It kills me. You love watching Clayton Kershaw on the mound, but at some point the body's just done. Right. And kind of same thing with Mike Trout. His have been slightly flukier than Kershaw's. Who's higher on their all-time list? Kershaw for pitchers or Trout for position players?
Left-handed pitchers.
Or center fielders?
Kershaw's in the top 5 left-handers. Top 10? Maybe not top 5, top 10? Is Trout in the top 10 center fielders? I don't think so. I don't know. Because there are too many center fielders that played at high levels, offensively, defensively, and won titles. There's some that did it from multiple teams. Right? He's not in the Willie Mays conversation, right? So he's not in the Ken Griffey Jr. Even if Jr. didn't win a title, who would?
So it's Willie, Mickey.
Yeah. Junior.
Cobb and the Kid.
Junior. Yeah.
And then?
Okay. If you want to put him in the 5.
I just don't know. I'm trying to scroll through lists here to see.
Yeah. I don't know.
DiMaggio.
What if I said that I'm a bigger fan of Bernie Williams than I am Mike Trout?
I can understand where you get that from. You can be a bigger fan without thinking Bernie's a better player.
I'm a bigger fan of Andrew Jones than Mike Trout. Jones defensively, I thought was on
another
a different
level,
right?
Yeah,
and did it in moments, right? Did it in absolute moments. So top 10, top 10. Kershaw, same discussion for left-handed starting pitcher. He's in that 5 to 9 range, and I'm okay with that.
I'm trying to scroll through a ranking here, and I'm not seeing him. Okay, so ESPN in 2016 had him as the number 3 lefty of all time.
Ooh.
Behind Koufax and Big Unit. Then it was Kershaw, who was right ahead of Spawn, who was ahead of Carlton.
No.
Lefty Grove,
No.
Whitey Ford.
No.
Carl Hubble.
No.
Glavin.
No.
Guess who they have at number 10, DP?
I would have
modern era. I'll give you that much.
But see, I would have had 2 Baltimore Orioles before, maybe 3 before Kershaw. I would have Dave McNally, who strung together, who was the yin to the yang of Jim Palmer. Mike Cuellar, who was the third 20-game winner in that rotation. And then I'm going to put him ahead of Mike Flanagan. But that's kind of the range. So 8 or 9.
And see, I'm a huge Kershaw guy.
Yeah.
Just like I'm a huge Trout. I mean, 3-time Cy Young winner.
Is he the third best Dodger left-hander? Is the question? Because Fernando jumps ahead for me. Fernando was a savage.
Fernando was a savage. I just
right. Yeah. So yeah, that's that's where I the ones that immediately come to mind. And we could go into this at 5:00.
Yes.
Right.
We might have to.
Like we'll dive deep in the pool at 5:00 because I see Jay Foreman lurking in the background.
We should probably let Jay speak his piece.
Yeah.
Even on a bye week.
Yeah.
So thanks for sitting in for Crossover. Thanks to Strick for tapping in from Dallas. He will be back tomorrow on the show. Thanks to Brian Munson for joining us as well. Lots going on the show today. If you missed it, make sure you check out the podcast. Many, many podcast platforms for you. Wherever it is you get your podcast, just search 93.7 The Ticket, and especially search for On the Block. I'm a little personal to that one. So give it a look. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us here on the text line and the stream, as well as Allo Channel 961. Keep it right there. We got Old School with DP and J coming up right after this.